Hello, I'm Stephane. I used to work in the game industry. I'm not in the game industry anymore. I'm more in a production company in Quebec called Saga Film, who do like movies, interactive and transmedia content. What I want to talk, it's basically, Paul touched it a little bit. It's what happened 2 weeks ago with Hawaii 5.0. What basically they've done is they crowdsource the content, or like I said, tweet your own ending. That's exactly what happened. Basically, what they've done is they ask people during the show to go on the CBS website or to tweet which of the 3 suspects they want to be the actual guy who done the crimes. What's interesting with that is they basically give people control over the narrative. The interesting aspect of it, it's the way that they imagine it first. Like the executive producers say, it's cool for a crime show when people is watching a mystery, they're trying to figure out who done it, and they basically give information about, it's happened all the time. When you're sitting in front of TV, you're watching a crime show, you talk with the person beside you, you're always talking, okay, let's try to figure out who done the crime, etc., etc. So that's what they wanted to create with the actual social experiment that they've done. And like I said, they actually play part in resolving your story. That's true, that's interesting, that works well. I think it's interesting to do that. And as you see on the Twitter feed, it's during the show, they had like, they tweet the different suspects that they think commit the murder. What's interesting is also like the comment that they put beside it. I think that is data. That is very, very interesting because you know right now what people think and why they think it's this character is guilty or this other character is guilty. Stats are also interesting because I think they reach like 9.4 million. It's above average, not that much. What is really interesting to see, it's on the Twitter feed. It's like, it's close to double than the regular average that they have. They reach like 14,000 K, and it works well for that. And the other thing that it creates, I think for that show it's interesting, but they need to put that on more like a recurrent format. Again and again, like the old series, if it was like that, definitely we will see probably an increase in the number of viewers, but probably an increase also in the TV rating, because the social TV rating. Because they've done that only for one show, so it worked well, but it needs to be thinking from the start, and if you do a whole season with that, with different ending, it could definitely work well. If you see the vote, another interesting aspect is you have different results from the East Coast to the West Coast because it's not the same time. So basically, you don't have the same ending on the East Coast and on the West Coast. And basically what happened, it's on the East Coast you have like the boss who have been like chosen by the public as the guilty guy, and on the West Coast you have another character. If you look at that, and that's where it itched me a little bit, it's basically, is this guy is the real winner. Because nobody picked him as the guilty guy. They could, but he basically escaped from the people. He escaped from as a suspect. So this is where I think it could be improved. Because if we took a look again at what Peter Lankov said, I think what they wanted to do is to recreate this situation where people are sitting in the living room trying to figure out who done it, but what happened really, it's, change. It's who they think committed the crime should be who they want committed the crime, because actually people select who they wanted to be the criminal, and they play a part in deciding the story and not only like discovering the story. So I think the format worked well. It's interesting to see. I think it's a first step in the seed to what could come next. But what they've done actually is not very different. It's a choose your own ending. So people were choosing their own ending. It's an unpopularity contest. So basically it's not your deduction that make it work. It's more like, okay, I don't like that guy, I will vote for that guy because I'm sure he's guilty. So basically like, might you call it a TV lynching. So it's not very different than something like that you see on American Idol. It's basically, it's a popularity contest. We've done that also. We saw that also on The Voice. What they've done is basically during the show, they invite people to tweet and vote on which group will sing at the end of the show. So again, it happened live during the show. You have the same thing with Big Brother. Big Brother, what they've done on the Twitter is basically when they eliminate a guy, they ask people, do you want to reward him or punish him? Based on again, on the Twitter vote of the people. So like I was saying, it works, it's fun, it's a seed, I think it's a good way to go, but it could be different. And this is another critic about it that's really, really interesting. It's like, from a critical standpoint, it destroyed the essential pleasure of a mystery because basically you control the mystery instead of just like trying to guess. It makes everything that happens before the ending meaningless, and that's kind of true. So if you want to do that, you need to be sure that the show supports it. It's, again, the format, the structure, it's easy to do because it's only Twitter, but it needs to be worked on around the content, the actual content of it. And thinking about that, if I go back to Mr. Lenkov, what they say, like, what they wanted to do is basically create the trying to figure out who done it. I gave him a free tip. I don't know if you remember Clue, the movie, like probably 20, 30 years ago. That movie had actually 3 endings that was different depending on the movie theater that you saw the movie. Audience doesn't have any control over it. But imagine like you have a TV show where you can quiz the fans during the show and actually let them answer to tweet or other social platform the quiz that you have. You ask them questions about the mystery and so on. You give them points for the right answer. At the end of the episode, they receive a score based on how they guessed correctly or not. You do it for the whole season. You basically gamify the season. You have leaderboard, you have like reward, etc., etc. And at the end, you give them prize based on the result during the season. So that could be something that could be interesting to work.